All right.
Hi, Candace.
Hello. We are just waiting for the YouTube to go through so that we don't have any backup. And you know what I miss? Starting my lectures like this. Wait, you can't hear that. I have to share. Let me share my screen and everything. And then you'll be able to hear this. I miss starting out with things. Let's see. Okay, you all can see that. Yay. That is, oh no. Hopefully, I think that, yay. Okay, let's move this over here. Oh, there's got to be an easier way, and I will figure it out. I will figure it out. Let's see. And now we've got you here, and I can see the chat. Woot! I can see the chat everywhere. So now I'm ready to get started. And I think I want to start with a
You know what time it is.
Yeah, you know what time it is. It is time for us to get started with this. So, I was looking at that math problem I skipped last time. We can come back to it if you want, but we are just gonna go for it. Hopefully, you have had a wonderful. Oh my gosh, is it Friday already? Oh my gosh, is it the 17th already? Okay, I can't. I can't even. Ah, that's not what I meant to do. So, let's go. Whoop, here. Number 27. A conventional mortgage is A, amortizing, B, guaranteed by FHA, C, not guaranteed by a government agency, or D, approved by the VA. Hmm, what are we thinking?
C?
Ah, you're thinking B? Okay.
No, no, C, C,
C.
C.
Ah, got you. C. I do like C. Hey, Patricia. Hey, Elena. And you have your test tomorrow, Patricia. You got this. You have got this. I know you do. And you know what? Patricia, you said C too, and that is the right answer. It is true that a lot of conventional mortgages are fully amortized or amortized in general, but this is the definition of a conventional mortgage. If it was guaranteed by the FHA, it would be an FHA mortgage. All right, so there we go. Number 28. Among other things, the principal is obligated to, is it A, compensate the agent for her services? B, reimburse the agent for expenses incurred on behalf of the principal. C, both A and B. Or D, neither A and B. Hmm, what are we thinking? What are you obligated to do? So the principal we know is the client. What does the client have to do? Does the client have to compensate the agent for her services? And does the client, because we have the word obligated here, to reimburse the agent for expenses incurred on behalf of the principal? What are we thinking? Hmm. Hmm. Well, my first thought is, are we talking about real estate agents or just agents in general? Like all agents. So let's think. We don't have one or the other. So I would have started with, well, do you have to reimburse the agent for expenses incurred on behalf of the principal? And if we're talking real estate, you don't necessarily have to. But there's not an option for, and you don't always necessarily, this one's hard. Since it's either both A and B or neither A and B, I know that you're going to, if we're talking about if we're talking about agency of all types, I know that you're going to have to reimburse them for expenses. So, like, if you are my, sports agent, or my like talent agent, I would have to reimburse you for the things that you bought on my behalf. I know that to be true, right? And if we're talking about real estate agency, I know that you're going to have to pay me for my services. We would have had to put it in. So either way, whether I look at this as real estate agency or all types of agency, at least one of them would be true. So I have to go with both A and B. I'm thinking that they're talking about all types of agency. So if we take this outside of the world of real estate, yeah. But not a good enough answer for the question. Yes, Patricia, you said you feel like A is a good answer, but not a good enough answer for the question. Sabrina, you said A. I'm going to go with C. I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going to go with C because that's my thought. I'm thinking no matter how I think about it, one of those has to be right. So it has to be both because it can't be neither. And I don't know how to choose between the two, so I'm gonna go with C. Let's see, because I do, it's not a great question, but let's see. All right. C, 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 C. I need to get glasses. C. Hey, we got it right. We got it right. Hey, we got it right. The answer is C. Yay! So, Patricia, I love what you went with there. You felt like A is a good answer, but not good enough for the question. Yeah, I think the question could use more clarity. And I think it would confuse people. And remember, this set of random questions I got, again, downloaded from the internet. Thank you, interwebs. Don't know whose questions they are, but I thank you for putting them out there. This probably wouldn't be on your exam because I could see too many of us getting it wrong. But hey, as long as we have a way to get to the answer, I'm cool with it. All right, 29. Unless y'all have questions. Remember, if you have questions, this is the time to ask. Which of the following is not required to have a real estate license? Ooh. You know what? We are going to, because this talks about resident managers and things like that, I'm going to skip this one because different states have different types of licenses. So we'll just skip that one for right now. All right. 30. Recordation of the deed is the responsibility of the A, grantor, B, grantee, C, both A and B, or D, neither A nor B. Well, let's break it down. If we have grantor, we know that's the person who's giving. So this will probably be the seller. And the grantee would be the buyer. So whose responsibility is it to record the deed? Well, why do we record the deed? We record the deed for protection. We record for protection. So if somebody comes and says, "Oh, this is my house," you can be like, "Nah, man, you see this deed, according to this deed, Register of Deeds. Hey, tricks." That's why we do it, protection. And who's being protected? The buyer. So it's not neither A nor B, because I know it's at least the buyer. And you know what? If I give you a deed and you don't record it, that's your problem. Now, I have a responsibility not to be shady, and I have a responsibility to not, what do you say? Like to not sell the property to somebody else, I guess. But yeah, I think I'm going to go. I know the answer's got to be A. It's good. I'm sorry, got to be B. The answer is B, the grantee. You don't record it, that's on you. Like that protects you, the buyer. So our answer is B. 31 through 34 refer to the Far Hills Estates diagram. Okay, that's going to be a pain in the butt, so we'll skip that for right now because it looks like, yeah, there's a diagram, and that would take too much of us going backwards and forwards. So we'll skip those. We will skip those for now. So we're not going to do 31, oopsie, 31, 32, 33, or 34. Let's jump to 35. All right. 35. The part of the conveyance that defines or limits the quantity of the estate granted is. The part of the conveyance that defines or limits the quantity of the estate that is granted is habendum, A, B, premises, C, equity, or D, consideration. What are we thinking, Murray? You think it's B? No, I think that's old, right? Well, that's B. You're not thinking that was B for the other one. Well, I'm going to eliminate D because we know this is the thing of value that is exchanged. It's not D, right? Okay. And I know equity is the money you have in the house that's not going to the bank if you sold it. So now we're down between A and B. Patricia, you said A maybe. And you know what, Patricia? You are correct. It is the habendum clause. The premises is just the premises. I mean, like that's just the land where you are. The habendum clause, it says, hey, you're getting fee simple absolute. You're getting a joint tenancy. You're getting tenancy income. That is the clause in the deed that tells you, because the part of the conveyance, remember the deed conveys, that is the clause that tells you what you're getting. Love it. So Patricia, you're looking like you are ready for this test tomorrow. You go. You're looking like you're good, like we're going to be coming back next week with a pass, and I will be singing your song for you. Love it. All right, 36. The statute of frauds. Now, gave us lots of answers. It's to the have and hold. Yes, Patricia, that's a to have and hold. Exactly. To have and hold is how I've seen it described before. Statute of frauds. We know we're going to be tested on this. Hopefully, when you see a question like this, you go, what do I know about the statute of frauds? It requires some contracts to be in writing to be enforceable. Remember, not all contracts have to be in writing. Some contracts have to be in writing in order to be enforceable. And we know it's real estate conveyances. If you're transferring property from one person to another, if you're promising to sell property, like with a purchase contract, that has to be in writing. So we're looking for an answer that talks about it has to be in writing. So A says require certain contracts to be in writing to be enforceable. I'm liking that one so far. Requires a licensee to operate as a broker or salesperson. Nope, that would be your state licensing laws. And we know the statute of frauds doesn't regulate escrow accounts. That would probably be, again, your licensing laws and rules. Regulates the estate owning real estate. No. Making our answer very clearly a boom. Boom shakalaka like a boom. It says certain, but all fraud contracts. No, so Mariel, I see what you're saying. You said it says certain, but all frauds contracts have to be in writing. Nope, it's not all contracts. There's a certain type of contract that has to be in writing. So that would be, I mean, for us, it is about, our real estate contracts that convey an interest. So like deeds, or if you're giving an estate, an easement or something like that. But it's also marriage contracts, wills have to be in writing. Anytime you're promising money that's greater than like $500, there's a whole section of law out there. We, studying for this exam, are worried about real estate contracts. So it's certain contracts like we learned about there's different ways to create contracts. They could be express, like I'd expressly write it with you, or I could talk to you about it, or they could be implied, like when you go out to eat. If you go sit down, have a steak dinner, and then you dine and dash, you've created a contract and that can be enforced. You can go to jail for dining and dashing. So, yeah, our answer is A. Got it. Yay, Tricks, you like A. I see you. I see you. For fraud purpose, I mean, I don't know. I know you want to think like the statute of frauds and there's something to do with it, but yes, it's the statute of frauds is its name, but it's just saying, hey, does it have to be in writing to be enforceable? So I guess maybe at one point it was to stop fraud, but it's more about say, hey, it has to be in writing. So there's not a fraud purpose. It's more some purposes like real estate contracts, marriages, things like that. Those have to be in writing, not all contracts. Kind of a weird, but it is what it is. Okay, number 37. And hopefully that makes sense. Let me know if that doesn't make sense. 37. A warranty deed protects the grantee against a loss by a warranty deed. So I learned it as a general warranty deed, but we know that's different than a special warranty deed or a quick claim or a bargain and sale, all types of deeds. A warranty deed protects the grantee against a loss by A, casualty, B, a defective title, C, both A and B, or D, neither A and B. All right, well, a warranty deed, we know a warranty deed says that, hey, buyer, I'm promising with these covenants, if something goes wrong, I'll make it back. If somebody comes and tries to say this is their property, I'll fix it. So that definitely would cover B, which means their answer is either both A and B or just B, right? Because it can't be just A, and we know it's not neither because it has to be at least B. Well, yeah, I think that's right. Did I just think about that right? I know it's defective title, so that has to be the answer. And then the question becomes, is it both A and B? Yeah. So the question is, what is casualty? And casualty, when I see that, I think of, I think of like insurance. There's a casualty, there's a loss there. Sabrina, you said B. All right, Patricia, you said C. I think of a loss casualty. I mean, so is that going to be casualty? I always think of insurance. Like to me, like casualty reminds me of like an insurance loss, like it burns down. I've never seen casualty applied to title before, but I could be. Misfortunes, right? Misfortunes. And that would be our regular. I'm going to go with B. I'm going to go with B. Now, guys, again, I ain't seen this before. Oh, no. Fingers crossed, I'm bringing home a baby, bumblebee. Oh, won't my mama be so proud of me? Okay, my mother will be very proud of me if I get this question right. Again, I don't know. Number 37. I'm going to move it. Hey, the answer's B. The answer's B. Hey, the answer's B. Do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little dance, do a little shimmy, shimmy, shimmy. Oh, yes. So I must be right there. A casualty is going to be something that happens to the property. You said, Patricia, when you look at A, you think of a general warranty deed as if there's something wrong with the home, the seller would cover. Well, you know what? Let me just double check. I'm gonna triple check here what they mean by casualty. So I'm going to do a search. What is meant by casualty in real estate? I could ask Uncle Ray, but today. All right. Today I just felt like Googling it. According to the Googs, in real estate, casualty refers to the sudden, unexpected, or unusual damage, destruction, or loss of property as from a fire, flood, storm, or earthquake. This does not include damage from normal wear and tear. This term is also used in the context of insurance, which is called property and casualty insurance. See, there you go. So my gut was right on that one. When we're thinking of casualty, right? And so there, well, remember, so you said tricks, there's protection for the lenders. Well, if we think about this, where can I go? I can go here. When it comes to insurance, you know that you have got numbers everywhere here. We have home insurance, like your, like Geico or State Farm. And that would cover, of course, um, the casualty. It's also called the peril. The peril is the thing that happens, right? Then we've got title insurance. And we know title insurance, it protects against, something being wrong with the title. Right? And depending on the state, sometimes the buyer pays for it, sometimes the seller pays for it. And we know that there's usually a lender's policy and there's a borrower's policy. And then we know sometimes we're dealing with mortgage insurance, which protects only the lender. So I don't know if it helps you to see this laid out. You got mortgage insurance, you got title insurance, you got home insurance. This home insurance is what we talk about in the PITI. This I right here is the home insurance. That's the policy to cover the structure. Mortgage insurance would be PITI. This is extra. And your monthly payment, if you've got mortgage insurance, you're paying two I's, PITII, both insurance policies. And then this is usually paid by whoever at closing. Right? So does that help? Does that make sense to see it laid out that way, knowing that there's different types of insurance? Now, if you're in North Carolina, you know that we have insurance on our exam and you need to know the types. Like there's an HO3, HO4, HO6, and an HO8 that you need to know. We know HO3 is the most common. HO4 is for uh, renting. Renting. I had to think about it. Renting, rent. Okay, that says rent. HO6 is for condos, and HO8 is when it's for like older homes, when it's worth more to cost more to rebuild. So older homes. So you got to know that one. I don't know. Hopefully that helps you all seeing it laid out like that. But there we go. So back to our question. We've got, yeah, we're good. Wow. All that from one question. I like that. Like, guys, again, even if you can't find a ton of questions, it's okay. Because if you're studying from the questions, knowing how to study is doing more than, oh, we could have just seen the answer as B and rolled on. I kind of dug some more into it. So we had a good review of the different types of insurance, things like that. I want you to do that on your own too. And better yet, if you have a study partner, do that together. Yes. Oh, good, Tricks. That was helpful. Good. All right. Brown's building rents for 85. We'll do math on Sunday. We'll do math on Sunday. Let's skip that one. And let's go to 40. 40. The income approach to appraisal would be most suitable for. So when do we need to use the income approach? Is it A, a newly opened subdivision, B, commercial and investment property, C, property heavily mortgaged, or D, property heavily insured? Hmm. Hmm. Newly opened subdivision. Well, okay, let's eliminate some of these things. Okay, y'all are saying B in the Zoom room. Okay, I see y'all. Patricia, you said B. You know, I guess I don't need to go over it because, yeah, y'all got this. The answer is B. We know the income approach is for when you've got income producing properties. Now, who can, in one of my chats, tell me the NOI formula? What's this formula for NOI, using NOI to find value? To find value is what? Value is equal to what? Hmm. Do 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 do. Okay, that's enough of that for me singing. Anybody? Anybody? Shatara, the live on Sunday is 4 p.m. Eastern, and just remember to email me to get that link. All right, I'll help you all out here. You take the NOI, that's the net operating income, and you divide it by the cap rate. A lot of people in different states will be tested on this. And even if you don't necessarily have to do the math, they do like you to understand the concept of NOI. Yep. Wait, it's divide. Value is equal to cap rate divided by NOI divided by cap rate. If you use a T-bar, which I usually tell people is a good idea for this problem, NOI goes at the top, and then it is cap rate over here and value over here. So depending on what they're asking you for, you can either find the NOI, the value of the or the cap rate, if you know one of the two. So yes, NOI, net operating income, is equal to value times the cap rate, or you can find the value by taking NOI, dividing it by the cap rate. You can find the cap rate by taking the NOI and dividing it by the value. Yes, the T-bar method. Hey, T-bar method, we love it. And don't forget, you also need to know a lot with this. NOI is usually the higher number. I mean, I'm gonna, no, the value is probably gonna be higher than the NOI, because think about it. If you have a property, let's see, let's say you have a property that brings in the NOI is equal to, I don't know, maybe it's like a small, maybe you have a triplex or something, and it brings in $50,000 a year. That's your NOI, right? Well, let's say there's a cap rate of 6. To find value, we do NOI divided by cap rate. So that would be 50,000 divided by 6%. So the value would be equal to, where's my calculator? 50,000 divided by 6% is $833,333.33. Repeating. So, right, we know that to be true. If this same problem had asked us to find the cap rate, then that problem would have said, hey, the NOI is $50,000 and the value is 833,333.33, repeating. So we would take, in that case, because you said, hey, isn't NOI always the larger number? That's not the larger of the number. This one is. So yes. And then you said TGI. TGI. Did I say TGI? TGI. Did I say TGI? I don't know what TGI. Did I say that? I don't know. I was going to say that besides doing NOI, you need to know that you could have a gross rent multiplier or a gross income multiplier. TGI. Hmm. I don't know what TGI is. Did I say it? I could have said, thank God I would say thank God it's Friday, but I teach all weekend. I don't TGI. Top goes in first, unless you're talking about the T-bar. When there's a T-bar, I do say top goes in first. So if I were putting this into a T-bar, I would have the 50,000 on the top, the 6% over here, and we're looking for this. And since we're dividing, you put this number in the calculator first. It would be 50,000 divided by 6%. Yes, TGI. Top goes in first for the T-bar. Yay, tricks. Yep. Top goes in first. You always put the top number in first. So it would be 50,000 divided by 6%. All right. And for this one, it would be, we know the NOI would be 50,000. And then the value was 833,333. And so you would literally put 50,000 in number one, and then you go the divided sign, and then you put this one in second. Okay. So good review. Good questions. Love it. Huh. All right. Next. That was that map we needed for those problems. Here we go. 41. Real estate is defined as land and buildings, B, land and all permanent attachments to it, C, land and everything growing on it, or D, land only. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped, tricks. Boom, shakalaka laka, boom. We be helping. We be helping. It's kind of like we be clubbing, except the boring version. So real estate is defined as land and buildings, or land and all permanent attachments to it. You got land and everything growing on it, or D, land only. Well, this is one of those lessons in real estate. We know we use the word lands, real estate, and real property interchangeably, but they are actually different things legally. Land, real estate, real property. I mean, unless I'm being tested on a question like this, I do throw them around a lot. Like put one, put in for others. But let's see. So Trix, you said B. Patricia, you said B. But Mariel, you said A, land and buildings. Anybody feeling 100% about their answer? Anybody feeling 100% about their answer? Well, we know land is, the surface of the earth. And then we got our subsurface. And then we got our air rights. I know my handwriting's awful, sorry. So that would be the land. And so it's not land only. In fact, land would be land and everything growing on it. Real estate means this, it's land plus anything permanently attached, whether it's natural or artificial. So this is actually our answer. And it's all permanent attaches to it. So land is going to be the surface of the earth, everything below the subsurface of the earth. And then you've got, of course, your air rights, like everything up in theory to the highest heavens and in theory to the middle of the earth, right? But you're going to have some laws and things like that are going to mess it up, right? That's real estate. And then real property is real estate plus the bundle of rights. So you got real property, you got real estate, you got land. And in this particular question, land and all permanent attachments to it, because they're specifically asking us, what is the definition of real estate? If this was just a normal question, I mean, generally, again, we can use either one. I see you, Tricks. Do a little dance, do a little dance. Yep, B is the better answer. Look at y'all being good. Putting these answers in a bucket and getting them right. I see y'all. Good. All right. Whew. And anytime, guys, anytime we have a question and you're like, oh, could you go over and review, or you want me to review like that topic, just ask. That's why we do this, right? That's why we do this. Rosalinda, I see you. And yes, you are correct. B was the better answer. Number 42. A second mortgage is, right? A second mortgage is a lien on real estate that has a prior mortgage on it. B, the first mortgage recorded. C, always made by the seller. Or D, smaller in amount than the first mortgage. All right, we're going to play the elimination game. All right, you said A. Muriel, you said A. We got 1A. I'm going to eliminate always made by the seller. Can the seller be the provider of a second mortgage? Yes. It's this gosh darn always words. It's not always from a seller. So now we got a 33 and a third chance of guessing right. Right? Is a second mortgage always smaller in amount than the first mortgage? Well, because I know, the answer is no, it's not always smaller in an amount than a first mortgage. It commonly is. Right? And it's not the first mortgage recorded, because that would be the first mortgage, otherwise known as a senior, even though I just got rid of it. That's the senior lien, and then this would be the junior lien. We know our answer is A. A for apple. I see you there, Patricia. I like to eat apples and apricots. I like to eat apples and apricots. Yes, so yes, our answer is A, a lien on real estate that has a prior mortgage on it. It doesn't have to be smaller. It could be. It usually is. But A is our best answer choice. Love it. Look at y'all being great. Patricia, you are ready for this test. We are with you in spirit, and you know you're going to pass this, right? Do a little dance, do a little dance. Looks like they're like, I don't know if they're tap dancing or square dancing, but I love that emoji, Tricks. All right, 43. Depreciation can be, oh, Muriel, so Patricia, you can't see what Muriel's saying, but says you've got it. She's supporting you there. I love it. Depreciation can be caused by, is it A, physical deterioration, B, functional obsolescence, C, economic obsolescence, or D, all of the above? What say you? Oh, you should be excited. You should be excited, Patricia. I love it. I love it. All right, Muriel, you said C. We got a C. Hey, Elena. Yep, she said, Trick says you're passing. All right, we got a C. Well, you're not wrong, but you're not right either. 43 is D, all of the above. Look at you, Tricks. I see you. I see you, Tricks, with the right answer. It is D for dinosaur. Patricia, I see you. It is D for how much is that doggy in the window? Or is it D for
under the sea?
Under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter. Take it from me. Hopefully I shared the sound so you all could hear that and it wasn't just me singing. And Tricks giving me the nuts. These nuts. I can say that because I'm a, it's my it's my YouTube. I can say these nuts. I can. hmm In your mind, you always think of depreciation has to do with economic. So yes, it is an economic theory, but when we're talking about the types of depreciation, remember in the cost approach. Remember, you know what? Let me find it because I don't have to make it pretty, or I can't make it pretty. Cheat sheet. So just go into our cheat sheet here. It's loading. It's trying to load. There it is. Oh, look, last thing I talked about here. We're talking about the cost approach. Let me clear all this. So in the cost approach, we know our first step is to figure out how we're going to rebuild. Then we want to know the cost of rebuilding. We're going to use the square foot method, the unit in place method, the quantity survey method. And then we got two options for depreciation, the breakdown method or the age straight life or straight line method. So in the breakdown method, there's depreciation that can be taken from physical deterioration, functional obsolescence, or economic obsolescence. So all three are ways in order that an appraiser, never us as agents, ways that an appraiser would say, hey, you know what? Since this property is not new, we need to depreciate it. And remember, this is curable or incurable. This one is the same thing. It's either curable or incurable. And this one is only incurable because it's something, by definition, economic obsolescence is something about the surrounding property that the homeowner can't change. Like you're near the trash dump, the road in front of your house is loud, you're near the airport. You as the homeowner can't change that. That's okay. It's okay to overthink. We just got to underthink to correct ourselves sometimes. And you just get it with practice. Get it with practice. You see, I overthink it all the time too. When these questions that I'm not quite sure the answer to, you see my brain spinning, spinning, spinning. All right. 44. Regulation Z applies to. Regulation Z applies to A, all real estate salespersons and brokers, B, all retail stores, C, all wholesale establishments, or D, none of the above. If there's a firehouse, close the house. You said if there's a firehouse, close the house. Oh, is that depreciation for noise? You know what, Trix? That's a good question. You said if there's a firehouse nearby, would I depreciate? I mean, I would assume so. I'm not an appraiser. Let's ask. You just asked that for an Uncle Ray question. You just wanted an Uncle Ray question. So let's see. Let me see. Let me see. Uncle Ray's coming, guys. Uncle Ray's coming. Hey, Uncle Ray. In general, if an appraiser is appraising a home and it's near, like right next to the fire station, would that be a reason for economic obsolescence or depreciation? Would they usually take off for something like that? Does that affect the value?
Absolutely. That's a really good real estate concept to bring up. So yeah, when an appraiser sees a home located right next to something like a fire station, it can sometimes be considered a form of external or economic obsolescence. Basically, that's just a fancy way of saying there's something off property that might hurt the value a bit, like noise from sirens or just the perception of inconvenience. Now, does it always mean they'll deduct a huge amount? Not necessarily. It really depends on the local market and how buyers in that area feel about it. Some might not mind at all, and others might see it as a negative. But yeah, it can be factored in as a kind of external depreciation.
Thank you. I need to start calling these sessions Uncle Ray and Candace, review session with Uncle Ray and Candace, because Just saying. So hopefully you all could hear him, and let Trix, Patricia, everybody over on YouTube, let me know if you could hear him. And of course in Zoom, let me know if you all could hear him. Yes, they could possibly take off for that. But again, that's way above our pay grade. Now, if I was selling a house to somebody and they wanted to buy near the fire station, I can't guarantee that money would come off, but I, as a buyer's agent, would be like, hey, you love this house and you don't mind the fire station. Just remember, when you go to sell the house, you may have a smaller pool of buyers simply because some people definitely would not want to live near the fire station. So does it affect the value officially? Maybe. But I guarantee when you go to sell it, it's going to be a little bit of a harder sell unless you drop it, the price significantly. And I don't think you want to do it. So there you go. Oh, good. You all heard Uncle Ray. Yay. There's a plan to move a fire station close to a neighborhood here. Well, Trix, it could definitely affect the value. I mean, this is one where if you were to go into real estate, if this was a training course, so let's say everybody here was licensed, I would probably share that as a material fact, right? Like, I think that would affect the value if I was the buyer, even if there is a lawsuit and they didn't. That's the kind of thing a buyer wants you to know. So if you're the buyer's agent, you tell people things like that. If you're the listing agent, I would check with your commission whether that's something you have to share. Like, I could say without a doubt in North Carolina, the fact that a fire station is coming is something you have to share. But that may not be true in every state. So this is why you got brokers, right? Your broker can answer those questions for your state. Oh, look at us having lessons as if we're already licensed. I like it. All right, so 44, Regulation Z applies to, and I'm going to go with 44, I'm going to say D. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be letting you all answer the check questions, but D is the answer. I was just going to do that one. I got excited on that one. The answer is D. Yep, the answer is D once again. So the community is divided. Well, I could see where, I want the fire station to be close to me, but I also understand I don't want the noise, but I understand why there has to be noise. I mean, it's hard. Maybe a fire station be like near a park, but that, again, the government, let's tie this in. If there was going to be a firehouse or a fire station, the government's probably going to use their power of, oh, you tell me, what is the power? What's the name of the power where the government takes the land for the good of the public? What do we call that? It is
Police power.
It is, well, it's police power would be Pete.
Pete.
Police power, eminent domain, taxation in a sheet. It's eminent domain. They're going to take your land through eminent domain. And sometimes I've seen stories where they'll take, hey, if this is the fire station, they'll take the land surrounding it, maybe like buy this house and this house here, and maybe this house just to kind of give it a little bit of border. So there you go. Yeah, some want it, some aren't sure. Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, you want your house to be safe. At the same time, who wants to be woken up at 2 a.m. with that alarm? Like, it's got to scare the living crap out of you. So I hope you have some, earplugs. Just saying.
And
right.
the fire station, it's external, right?
It would be external. It would be economic obsolescence. This would be economic obsolescence.
And this depreciation, right? Because we didn't know what is depreciation.
Yeah, it would be depreciation. You'll be depreciating because of it. I mean, unless like all the firemen were really hot. And if you were like, hey, Candace, every fireman is really hot who lives here, and, every single one of them looking like a calendar, then that might be appreciation for me. I'd be like, oh, darn. Look, I baked y'all some brownies while you all wash your fire truck topless. But then again, I'm going to get, from a real estate agent point of view, probably going to get sued for sexual harassment. Just saying. Okay, back to focusing. but now I'm like, ooh, wouldn't that be amazing? Could that be a TV show, Candace in the Firehouse? Okay, so let's skip the math problem. Put Candace focus not on just my mere brain with the firemen now. I need help. Help me, Sister Fireman, help me. So, unless, I know there could be some guys here or women that prefer women. If you want to have some sexy fire women, that's great too. I'm all there for everybody. All right, number 46. One discount point is equal to 1% of the sales price, B, 1% of the interest rate, C, 1% of the loan amount, or D, none of the above.
1% of a loan amount.
1% of the loan amount. Yes. And Trix, look at you. You said the master plan meeting was very interesting. I bet it was. I bet it was, with them trying to figure out, what, should we have it or should we not? But yes, one discount point is equal to 1% of the loan. That is what it cost. And then we know if you're using discount points, it moves the loan 1/8. Oh, that's a 2. 1/8 of a percent, which is the same as 0.125%. There we go. All right. I think we're good on that. Elena, she's already a pro on discount points. She can teach you now. Like, hey, Elena, you should be I think you are a pro on discount points now. And Trix, you got it. It is C. Boop. 47. Which of the following is not realty? Which of the following is not realty? A fee simple estate, a leasehold for an indefinite duration, lumber, or life estate? Good question.
What is lumber? Sorry.
Lumber is like once you cut down the tree, if this is a tree, once you cut it down, you have that log. That would be lumber. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the tree gets cut down and it's lumber. And shockingly enough, or not shockingly, 47 is C. Patricia and Trix got it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. It is lumber. Because everything else has to do with real estate, right? You could have a fee simple estate in real estate. You could have a leasehold estate in real estate. You could have a life estate in real estate. But lumber would be personal property, which is the opposite of realty or real estate. All right. A lease can state that the rent is to be paid in A, labor, B, crops, C, cash, or D, any of the above. A lease can state that rent is to be paid in A, labor, B, crops, C, cash, or D, any of the above. All right, we got a D so far. Got a D. Anybody else got an answer? I mean, here's the thing. We know that all contracts have to have mutual agreement, consideration, legal capacity, lawful objective. And consideration is anything of value. You always hear me say that. Anything of value. So yeah, our answer is D. If you're the landlord, you want to be paid in labor, why not? It's up to you. Why are the test questions are not like this? Good. I wish the exam was like this too. Yeah, these don't seem, well, they're just feel a little different, but they're a good review. They're not the hardest we've ever seen. All right, 49, and then we'll call it a day. We'll do 50 because this is some math. We can do, again, for those of you all coming on Sunday, if you want me to go over some of these math questions you see here, we definitely can. It's not a problem. Let's see, 49. A mortgaged property can be A, sold without the consent of the mortgagee. Now remember, the mortgagee is the lender. C, conveyed by the grantor, making a deed to the grantee. Both A and B, or neither A nor B. I mean, sold without the consent of the mortgagee. I mean, you could if there's no alienation clause. I mean, if there's no alienation clause and you're in a lien theory state, if you're in a lien theory state, that's your property, right? It's your property. So do you need permission to I would say no. You don't need permission, but I mean, yeah. You don't need permission. It just says a mortgaged property. So it didn't say there's an alienation clause. In fact, we wouldn't need an alienation clause if that wasn't true. So I know A has got to be true, which means it's not just B and it's not D. So it's either A or C. So the question becomes, is B true? Conveyed by the grantor, making a deed to the grantee. Well, yeah, in a title theory state, we know that the new owner is going to give a deed of trust to the bank, making the bank the grantee. So yeah, it is conveyed by the grantor by making a deed to the grantee. So our answer has to be C, both A and B. Yeah, that one was different. That one was different. So does that make sense why our answer is C? Let me double check. Yep, C. I was just double checking, making sure I was right, because we have alienation clause that says you can't. You need a clause to say you can't because you can unless there's a clause. That kind of makes sense. So we know it's A. And yes, in title theory, we know that the owner, the new owner, is giving title to that trustee, giving basically title to the bank as collateral. So both of these statements are true. And that is how we answer a question, using elimination. But again, that was a hard one. I think that was a more difficult one. I really had to think about that one. So hopefully this helps. Also, remember, I would love to have you all Sunday. What's Sunday's date? Let's see. Saturday is the 18th. That means Sunday's the 19th. Yeah. 10/19 at 4 p.m. Eastern, which would be 1 p.m. Pacific. We're doing math. Whoop, whoop. Doing the maths, guys. See you Sunday, guys. Good luck, Patricia. I know you're going to pass, and I will see you all then. Everybody be good, or at least be good at being bad. Bye, everybody.